Educating, informing, serving. Fact TV, keeping government honest.
We'll switch over to Dr.
Okay.
Shaw.
Move to approve the following, or acknowledge the following committee reports. The Walpole Fire District meeting minutes of January 8th, 2020, Walpole Fire District meeting minutes of February 12th, 2020, and the Conservation Commission meeting minutes of March 2nd, 2020.
So acknowledged. Okay, Regina, we're gonna switch over to new business and the coronavirus. Walpole and Dr. Shaw is here this evening.
How are we doing?
We're
Good.
Doing well,
How are you?
thank you.
Good. What do you want to know?
Well, we've read all your memos, which were well written, thank you, and
Yep.
comprehensive, and
I just gave an update. I took out sore throat,
Okay,
and I diluted this down a little bit just to say drink warm fluids frequently, not
not
every
cold
15
water,
every
not
15 minutes, okay.
not ice water.
does.
Well,
Keeps your system going.
there was an email that came out from, you know how emails go, supposedly from Stanford University Medical School. It went through Boston through the agency of my daughter works, which is an international medical community, and it turned out it was a scam.
Really?
And I ignored about 90% of it because it was just too wordy, but they were going into what the Japanese doctors found out and what the
Oh, I
Taiwanese.
got that yesterday. Where did it come from? Do you remember? Because now I did read something that the Japanese were talking about.
Yep. So I mean, I think that, so I just sent Sarah an update,
Okay,
and then Lil, so she'll put it out. But,
okay.
you know, 95% of it I ignored.
Ignored.
And but that sore throat and that every 15 minutes is, every 15 minutes okay. But,
To drink
It's a little
water,
bit.
fluids of some kind.
well, it's staying hydrated and
Right.
it is, I think there is some merit to the idea that the virus is replicating in the back of your throat. And if you can drink fluids and wash it into your stomach, where it's probably gonna die, that's better than having your throat dry out and the virus become airborne and descend into your airway. So,
Did you send the one that was talking about taking the zinc lozenge and to lay down so that it stays kind of in the back of your...
no,
Did you see that one?
no, you know, and it makes, I mean, even in something as potentially scary as this could be, it's kind of sad that there's scammers out there.
Well, the CDC has a bunch of resource pages and printed materials and all that.
And
So I sent that too.
Been
Yeah.
tracking the
I sent
CDC,
that to
I just,
everyone.
I mean, I'm keeping in touch with New Hampshire, and it really is boiling down to kind of, most of
Common
this
sense
is pretty
sort of
good.
things, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
Washing
Things
your
that we
hands,
learned in
staying
kindergarten.
hydrated, those apply,
Right.
no matter what's
Good
going
health.
around.
The virus is highly contagious. It's not a particularly tough virus, but it is highly contagious. And look at that, yeah. You know, you listen to these guys, these CDC and NIH people, sort of beating the drum like this could really get bad, this could really get bad. What happens when viruses like this is that they spike very high, very quickly. And the problem is when things like that happen, people start dying and you overwhelm the medical system. And so all this talk about, you know, stopping collective gatherings and all that is all designed so that
Right, you don't get down there.
you just modulate that
Right.
so that you may end up more cases out here, but you're not gonna overwhelm the,
Medical system.
and that's the real fear, is taking care of the health workers.
Sure.
Well, there have been a number of things today that have been stopped right here in town. For instance, the Follies, which is scheduled for Saturday night, has been
They've gone ahead and canceled.
canceled. Or maybe they'll postpone it and do it sometime later, but it's certainly canceled Saturday night.
Yeah.
So, Ernie, do you have any concerns about town
I
meeting?
don't, I just wanna know how you guys are feeling, and I'll back you up on it.
Well, we feel we
Well,
should
I'll
go
change it.
forward with it. And we've taken numerous
I think-
protections within the town.
Yeah,
All the tables, chairs, bathrooms, and other frequently touched surfaces have been cleaned and disinfected. Touchless soap and paper dispensers have been installed in all the bathrooms, and a bunch of touchless soap dispenser in the kitchen. Attendees are encouraged to
someone in
use
the
hand
hallway.
sanitizers from dispensers that are in the hallway and in the main room. Again, the New Hampshire state health officials are recommending stay at home and avoid public places if you're sick. You don't have to come. Cover mouth and nose when coughing or sneezing, things that we've learned before. Wash hands frequently. Avoid being in close contact of a person who is sick. Avoid sharing drinks, smoking, vaping devices, or other utensils or objects that may transmit saliva, and disinfect frequently touched surfaces.
I think we go ahead with town meeting,
Yeah.
and that if someone
yeah,
is not
I'm
well,
all
they,
for it.
it's incumbent upon them to
To
discipline
not
themselves
come.
and stay home.
We're encouraging, use your personal discretion whether you should attend town meeting.
Right.
Those with health concerns may not wish to attend.
I think you're probably gonna have a low turnout.
I think
and-
we will.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, that's the, we're heading out to Syracuse in the morning to a vet meeting that is still going on. But that said, 3 of the presenters are university types who are sequestered by their universities not to travel. So it's gonna be like remote learning, and there's some vets who are probably not going to go because they're anxious about it, so they're gonna get on their laptops at home and take the seminar from home, and I feel, you know, there aren't any positives in Syracuse, and although I realize the way this thing goes is large gatherings, everybody gets together, I mean, that's why the sporting events,
Right.
concerts, I've got one employee going to a concert in Worcester on Friday night or Saturday, and another one going to a concert out in Syracuse, or in Schenectady, and I got another one who's going to a wedding in Oklahoma.
You're in trouble.
I mean, and you're asymptomatic for 3 or 4 days, so this is,
That's the scary thing, is that there are people who are transmitting the disease who have absolutely no
No
symptoms.
idea.
So you have no clue, and neither does the individual who
Yes.
has the disease, so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, I
it's
mean, we have
spooky
to-
in that respect.
my wife and Ellie and I are supposed to fly out to Kansas City next Thursday. And she really wants to go see the grandchildren, but you know, it's like, I said, I'll let you decide, I'll let you decide. So,
I
Tom Sawyer,
decided
is that
not to
this-
go visit my brothers in Arizona.
I mean.
Next week I was going to
Yeah,
fly to Phoenix.
it's all this crisscrossing, I mean,
Right.
and the limited amount of testing that's been done in this country is probably a little bit of cause for concern, because there's probably a lot more positives out there through the slow approach by the country to what are we gonna do is potentially jeopardizes, resolving this thing.
Okay, so I think we're all in agreement that
We'll go
we'll
ahead.
go ahead with the town meeting without any
There have been several town
Questions?
meetings this week in other towns nearby
nearby,
that
so.
we've been hearing about, and they've had reasonably decent turnout, so,
That's the other.
They have,
yes,
Yeah.
they have. Last night, there was a bond vote in Westmoreland, and they approved the bond vote at their meeting, 254 to 6 or something
Oh,
like
wow.
that. My numbers may be slightly off, but it was an overwhelming vote.
yeah,
And earlier in the week, Ringe had a town meeting, so did Harrisville. They're all people who are doing the same broadband work that we are.
well, good for you. Well, thanks for hanging in there. I won't take up any more of your time. Keep calm and carry on.
That's
You
right.
think, I think
Sure.
the things
That's
that
it.
we've done are
Yes, I think
going
we've
to be as
taken,
safe as we can.
taken adequate steps to, and we'll go from there.
Well, you know, I got a call from Hubbard's today. I signed a bunch of health papers for their birds to go Saturday to France. And they were informed that JFK is gonna shut down Friday night at midnight. So that we scrambled around and we re-signed all those health charts again today, with today's date instead of tomorrow's. And
They're trying to get them through the,
they're gonna get them on the plane tomorrow. One of the employees
Before
had to drive
midnight.
it over to Albany for signature right after I signed it. And so they could, I mean, this was like
Wow.
990
It used to be bad. Now it's
dozen
worse.
eggs. This is over 11,000 eggs.
Yep, wow,
You know what they're worth? You know, it's
Yeah.
like
no, a lot.
a lot,
over $20 a piece.
yeah.
Are they that much?
To the,
Genetics.
to the French company that owns the business.
They don't own it now. French do not.
Well, Right.
Evian owns it.
right, Avigen.
I thought that was a
They bought
French
out the
company.
Grimaud brothers.
Oh, okay.
Avigen is Dutch, aren't they? In the
I
big scheme of
think
things?
so, but they're big places out in what, Missouri or out in that neighborhood. So
Well, in
they're
this
big
country,
farm.
yes, but don't they have a headquarters in Europe?
I think
They
so, I'm
do,
not sure.
and their big boss was here, and he's, the CEO of Hubbard is from France.
Yeah, that's probably
But I
what
think the company is actually Dutch.
Dutch.
But it's not remote people anymore.
No,
Okay.
Okay,
but boy, I'll tell you,
we'll
they're
move on.
sinking some serious
Oh, boy.
dollars into it.
Thank you guys for coming.
Good for Walpole.
Lucky. Walpole's lucky to have them,
We
Boy,
are very fortunate.
we are.
but
Thank
they
you
didn't
all.
want me back. I wish I were younger, I had a good time with the chickens, so. See you later.
Thank you. We'll see you for sure on
I'll be here
Saturday.
sometime tomorrow morning to get the sound system hooked up with Brad
Okay.
and stuff.
Okay,
He's
yeah,
got
he
no
cleaned
pieces
the
of parts.
that room. It smells like Clorox right now. It'll be dissipated by tomorrow
Tomorrow night.
probably.
They'll thin out the crowd.
It will.
It'll be good.
Bye-bye.
Okay, go ahead, Chair. We're back to property tax abatements and refunds, Regina.
I move to approve the property tax abatement for map 30, lot 64, in the amount of $764.02 for a home that was damaged by fire.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
I move to approve the abatement for map 8, lot 61, sublot 1, in the amount of $3,471.24 for a change in assessment.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
And I will excuse myself from the next item. Since I'm the abater, I guess, or the applicant.
And our last request is for an abatement for map 15, lot 16. And Avatar's position is that they do not recommend the abatement.
On what grounds? I guess I'm on the other side of the fence now.
Let's see.
She said that it's a building lot until you exhaust all your options with getting a variance for it. I'm kind of giving you the quick overview.
So there's no evidence of the marketing of the property could be found indicating that this was not a qualified sales transaction. The assessment appears to be fair and equitable, and I'd recommend this request for abatement be denied. If it's the intention of the taxpayer to reduce the taxes, I would urge them to consider a voluntary merger of the two parcels. If they were to do that for tax year 2020, they would need to apply ASAP to meet the April 1st assessment.
I'll get a copy of
It
it.
says the parcel does not meet today's
I'm gonna
zoning
appeal it, so
requirements for a
Probably
building
to the
lot.
BTLA.
It said it's grandfathered lot of record. This does not necessarily make it a non-buildable lot. The lot would require a variance to build. And until those measures were exhausted, the lot would be deemed to be buildable until shown otherwise.
Okay.
So,
I move that we accept that recommendation and urge the applicant to appeal.
second. All in favor?
Aye. That way we're not seen to be favoring our colleague.
Not so fun when you're on the other side of that, is it? I'm just kidding.
Okay.
I'm just kidding with
I
you.
won't argue with her. I'll just go right to the appeal process because
I think that's what you need to do.
I don't agree with it.
Okay. We have some applications for current use. The first is map 13, lot 9, to add land in current use that had a lot line adjustment to move to approve.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Let me find out where I'm supposed to sign. Oh, right there.
Have we signed both forms on some of them?
Oh, were there two? We probably didn't
Some of them.
have more than,
Not this.
This one has a 1 sign.
Yeah, there's another one. You guys need to go through these, there's another level.
Okay. Our second current use request is for map 10, lot 24, to add an adjacent lot to the land that's already in current use. I so move.
second, sorry. I'm looking at this. This is one you need to sign too. I
Yep.
signed on the wrong line, but.
My last item is a timber intent for a property off Valley Road, map 13, lot 52. I move to approve the timber intent.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. So, old business now?
Old business. Consolidated?
Yeah.
Yeah, we met last night, this is for the broadband. The committee met last night and discussed asking you to sign the contract on the 19th, but in conversation by email today with Rob Kester, he has asked that we wait. He's evidently, one of his attorneys is working on something that he wants to change in there, so. And this is not a correct copy anyway, because it doesn't have all three of our signatures are to be on the document. So it doesn't have to be signed until close to the bonding time.
Okay.
So we'll wait until
Good.
we see what else it is he wants to change in there.
Good, I didn't get to
He
read
said
the
it was
whole
not significant. Well, we'll wait and see. We can assess it when we read it.
When we read it, okay.
Right. But they are prepared for Saturday's presentation, and they are discovering that there's a great deal of misinterpretation. People are reading the warrant, which is number 1 on the agenda, as you know, and they're misreading it. They're not reading it carefully. They're stopping after the $3 million and say, I'm not gonna vote for this. We're hearing this out in the community. And so you need to stop and explain exactly what that warrant article says. And I think the committee is prepared to do that on Saturday. And we know that the bond issue has passed in all those towns I mentioned earlier. Westmoreland overwhelmingly approved it. Harrisville and Ringe have also approved it this week, all of them. And we'll all be going to the bond market at the same time. Dublin meets Saturday morning, and assuming they pass it as well, we'll all be together in a cluster. So that's all I really have to comment on that.
Okay, further actions, we haven't heard anything from any of the folks?
Nope, and I'm still working on the packet for the tax
Yep.
lien. I worked on it some more, but I didn't get it done yet.
Okay. We've had the new business, we've had Dr. Shore in. Somewhere we've merged in our current use package here. They merged in with some other documents.
Okay. Oh,
That's all right,
okay.
we'll get it.
There's nothing in there. So,
There's a question here about working at home.
That was from the True North, and I think, I don't know if you already discussed it or not, but it was, because our computer, we don't have laptops that we can take home. If somebody had to work at home and we were quarantined or couldn't
Right.
work here. So, just, it came up during the week, so I just brought it
Right.
and put it in.
Okay, yeah, we talked about it with Kelsey,
we did.
Okay,
so I don't think we need to, well, you weren't there with it, Kelsey, but the only one that ever really works from home is Rich.
and that's infrequently.
And that's very infrequently, and he goes through, go to my PC to do some little bit of work that he does once in a while. So, I don't think we have any issues with anybody. If they get quarantined, we'll deal with it.
When we get there,
When we get there, who it is and what their role is and whether or not they really need to be
right.
able to remote access. So. Do you know what Jill is from the conservation at all, or?
Yep.
I do. She actually stopped me on, was it Tuesday that I was here? She came to the window.
She read the minutes, she read the conservation minutes because
Right.
they were, when Alex made his presentation
Right.
at the conservation meeting, they were talking about how would they treat invasives. So, that's where glyphosate came up as the preferred treatment for the invasives.
And Alicia said that it was reasonably safe to use. Jill disagrees with that, and that's what she's written about.
Yep.
She's very concerned that we are using that, and there is a good deal of controversy generally in the environmental world over the use of Roundup, which is what glyphosate is. And when I looked at all of the invoices that, for all the water testing, that's one of the things that they were testing our wells for, is glyphosate. Fortunately, they didn't find any.
Well, there's an internal conversation in conservation in the group because we all got the letter as part of conservation. So Laura Hayes brought up some really good points about somebody was suggesting that I don't remember exactly where, they were using goats to treat invasives, and her concern with that is if they're eating those plants, are they actually getting to the roots at all, and are they going to defecate on the land and disperse the
Replant
seeds
them.
even further? So she brought up some concerns. So I think it's going to be, there's been no approval to do any invasive treatment right now. So I think that the conservation is going to take this letter and have a longer, deeper conversation.
A few years ago, there were goats up at the Hooper Institute that were spent the summer up there on a field where they in fact did eat a great many of the invasives and other things. They were to the right of the driveway as you pull in there.
Yeah.
And they belonged to someone who lived further down the road, and he brought his goats up for the summer.
Oh, nice. Well, we talked about how Alex explained about, how you cut the stuff back. And then it's in the regrowing year, in the second year, that you actually do the treatment. So it's really low to the ground and you use less product and all that kind of stuff. So I think they'll just continue to have this
Continue the
conversation.
conversation.
Hi
Excuse me.
there.
Hi, just a quick question. I heard that basically you're putting the town under quarantine, or?
No,
No,
Okay. I
nothing.
thought that was a little exaggerated there.
Highly.
Okay.
The town meeting will go forward as planned.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay. Thanks, Adam. How should we respond to Jill? Should we in fact tell her that it'll be a discussion of, with the, among the people at the Conservation
Yeah,
Commission?
I would, I don't think that there's much more for us to do until conservation works
Right.
out the details, with Alex. I know they've got somebody did contact him, and they're gonna continue to have the conversation before any decisions are made, so.
I would let Jill know that the matter has been given to the Conservation
Sure.
Commission.
I'll be happy to
Yeah.
do that. I'll give you something you
Yeah.
can sign next week.
Yep.
Because she did stop me
Yep.
here in the hall
Yep.
and we talked about it a bit.
Yep. Okay. Anything else at this point for public? Okay. Hearing none, motion to go into non-public,
So moved.
Second?
all in favor?